friends. Welcome to another episode of House History. This isn't technically a house history, it's kind of more of a part two to the original segment I had done on Santa Fe Speedway earlier in the year. Powder Puff racing was not unique to Santa Fe Speedway, but this particular segment is focusing on the women that were racing at Santa Fe Speedway. And I just want to apologize. I'm sure I don't have every name in here of everyone who ever raced. I got as much information and as many names as I could, so I hope it's fairly inclusive. And I want to thank everybody that contributed pictures and information. Camille for coming out, taking time to share her experiences with us. And without further ado, I give you the Powder Puff Racers of Santa Fe Speedway. Hi friends, it's Christina Andino, and I am here with another episode of House History, and this is one I'm really excited to do, and I'm totally fangirling today because I'm here with the famed Camille Connolly. We all remember her because we remember the doll that hung off of the back of her race car. So Camille was one of the Powder Puff drivers, and I'm so excited to have her here today to talk to us, and she brought some memorabilia and stuff for us too. So hello Camille, thank you for coming in and talking to me.
Well, thank you for asking. I'm excited.
Yeah,
appreciate the honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. So when I was on the Santa Fe Fans of Santa Fe Facebook page, and I was kind of trying to gather some information about Powder Puff racers, there was a lot of conversation around you and the doll. So
that started something.
Tell me a little bit about how that came about.
Well, it was kind of a fluke. The first car that I was going to drive, friends of ours got me interested, and he said, we're going to paint the car pink because, well, you got a bridal shop and you got a pink awning. And I said, well, should I put a bride doll on? Hey, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Mm-hmm. So I got something together, and they had to figure out how they were going to anchor it.
Right.
So that was how it got started, and I just continued it through the years.
Yeah.
It just seemed to be a fun thing, and everybody enjoyed it, and I enjoyed doing it.
Right.
So
and everyone still remembers it, right?
And the tradition kind of continued, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get into Powder Puff racing?
A friend of ours whose sister was involved in racing, we were out one night and talking about it, and I said, boy, you know, that sounds like fun. I think I'd really like to try it. Well, my husband looked at me like I was nuts. And my friend said, well, did you ever go to a race? I said, never. Why don't we go out and see if you really would like to do that? Yeah. I said, sure, why not? So we go out to Santa Fe and stand up in the grandstand and watch the races, and it was a Powder Puff night. I said, oh, you know, I think that'd be kind of fun. And my husband said, well, we'll get you a big safe car so you don't have to worry about anything. Yeah. So they got me a big Lincoln 4-door, whatever kind of big car it was. Okay. Painted it pink. Yeah. And that was my first night, 2 weeks later.
Oh, nice, yeah. So tell the story about when your first race with the nice brand new car.
Yeah, so my car is all spiffy and shiny and pink, and everybody's lettered all over it with all kinds of funny stuff. And my friend had said, usually they allow the Powder Puff cars to go out in advance of the race to kind of test it. Right. I said, well, okay, because I wouldn't know what to do. Well, we get to the track, and he said, nope, he says, they're not going to allow it tonight. Oh my gosh, you mean I can't try? No, he says, you just have to go out there. Well, what do I do? Yeah. Well, he says, they have the lights on the side of the track, red, yellow, green, red stop, yellow caution, green go. Yeah. And when they drop that flag, you go. Yeah. And he said, just follow, you know, just go around. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, it was a demolition night, so traditionally they went the track. Yeah. And it's very wet, very muddy, and clay, and it's a mess. Yeah. So the cars line up, they drop the flag, and all the cars start going. And of course, I'm like, gee, how do I steer this car? It's not even going. Little did I know they didn't take off the power steering, so I had no, so it was really like just, but all of a sudden cars are banging into me, and I thought, well, I didn't do anything, why are you hitting me? All I do is want to go around the track. Yeah. And That was kind of the first race.
Okay, so the car was too new. They had to bang it up.
They had
for
to bang
you?
it up. They had to. One gal came across the infield to purposely
Oh,
bang into me.
nice.
I said, "Why did she do? I don't even know her. Why did she do that?"
Right.
So, I was so naive, and then I realized later on what it was all about.
Yeah, right.
So it was fun. Yeah.
So we also have, I'm just going to show you guys here, and I didn't realize this, but they had whiplash harnesses. So show us how that works. I'll hold it out for you.
Okay, this is what I would wear, put on before a race. This is the back side, and this gizmo would attach to a chain which was anchored to the floor of the car.
Okay.
So when I got in, this was behind me. So then it would go over like this.
Yeah.
And it had a lap belt, and then these two would fit into it
Okay.
and snap.
Okay, yeah, and then you'd have the thing back.
And that was anchored back there. So the lap and this, it's called a 5-point harness.
Okay,
So I had a 5-point harness.
got it. Okay.
And so that would not allow me to turn either way, any way. I was at any
Right,
protection
and that
back there.
is what would keep you from getting whiplash while
Correct.
you were getting banged into.
around, right?
Yeah.
Even intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah. There you go. And then we also have here, we have Camille's helmet. You can see with her name on there, and I'm going to have pictures of all this stuff too. But
And before a race, and we were just driving around, I could see what was going on, where most cars didn't have, helmets didn't have that.
okay.
So then when the race would start, that would come down.
Okay.
And protection all around.
Right.
And yeah.
And now, what years were you racing? You raced for a long time. I mean,
I
compared to
raced
a lot of people.
overall 18 seasons at Santa Fe.
Okay.
I probably started in the late 70s.
Yeah.
And then I believe Santa Fe closed either 1965 or 66, 67. What am I saying? 97.
Oh, 90s. 96
yeah, right.
or something like
Yeah,
that?
90s, yeah, something like that. So it was a total of 18 years.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's a long time. I know because a lot of people were like in for, a year and for a couple months, and it looks easier than it is.
Well,
Huh?
even in powder puff, I mean, I could see that year after year. Gals would come out to the track, and their boyfriend fixed up a car,
Yeah.
and they figured she can go powder puff for the first race, and then we're going to take the car and we're going to go out using a spectator race,
Mhm.
or we'll end up at the night using it as a demo car.
Okay.
So that's how that whole thing about a lot of gals.
Right. Okay. So, with a lot of the women, was it like they were driving their husbands' cars, or did their husbands just like get them the cars and fix them up for them?
Well, I think for some of them, they were the boyfriends that were fixing up the car. Some that were more dedicated, maybe the husbands did it. I'm not really sure, but I know most of them started out like that. The boyfriend she'd run for powder puff. The next race, he'd run it in spectator.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, they'd throw it into demo and destroy it.
So
She
fun.
had first crack at trying to
Yeah.
destroy it.
Right. Yeah. So then, when you just quit because the place was closing, was
Right.
that it? Okay.
Right. Yeah. Right. I did. While I was still in the powder puff division, we did go out to Sycamore Speedway and raced out there, and then we did go out to the racetrack in Blue Island
Okay.
in the powder puff car.
Yeah. Okay.
That was different because that was an asphalt track, a lot different than clay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And how was it driving on that compared to the clay
Oh,
track?
I like the clay better. I mean, when you got hit on an asphalt track, you knew you got hit.
Right.
With the powder puff and with the clay, your car slid. It was like you're on ice.
Right. Okay.
So, in the winter, I practice on ice.
Oh, there you go. Right. Well, that's easy to do around here, right?
Yeah, right.
So, do you remember any of the other women that you raced with at that time, offhand, or?
Well, Joe Splon is one gal that I do remember. Joe, she was very good. She was a good driver. And I think she may have even been track champion that year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was good. But a lot of gals kind of moved in and out. And, when you got to Santa Fe, you went to the pit area, kind of stayed in your area.
Yeah.
You really didn't socialize
Yeah.
with the other drivers. And when the race was over, you pack up and you go home.
Right,
So,
right.
but we became friendly with Joe.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's, interesting to know. I know people were in different years and different, with different people, so. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming in and talking to me, and we have lots of memorabilia from Camille that I'm going to photograph, and you'll see it further in the segment with the other pictures. Thanks, guys.